Hello, and welcome to week 3 of our Summer Sunshine Challenge. This is a blessed challenge. I hope that you have been blessed by it over these last few weeks, and hopefully you're looking for more to come. In the first week, we focused on gratitude and the ways in which being grateful and expressing our appreciation really does help lead to a happier, more fulfilling, and a brighter life. In week 2, our focus was on connection, and so I encouraged you during that week to reach out to maybe to rekindle some relationships that maybe you put on the back burner for a while, to talk to someone you hadn't spoken to, and also to make new connections. Just even our casual conversations that we may have with someone while we're waiting in line at the grocery store, or picking up our dry cleaning, or standing in line waiting to get into a store to get our cup of coffee in the morning. Those casual interactions, if they're done in a positive way, can have a lot of lasting impact and really impact our general sense of well-being and happiness. So I pray that connection and connecting was something that happened for you in a tangible way and that blessed you. And this is the third week of our challenge, and our focus this week is on kindness. Kindness is that that sort of tone of interaction that we have with one another that can sometimes be in short supply these days. Even many times we see kindness being denigrated and really made light of. So often we want to focus on being strong, and we position kindness as weakness, when in fact kindness really requires a certain inner strength that enables us to go beyond the circumstances of our interactions and go beyond the particulars of relationships or a certain situation to really extend love and grace and compassion towards another person, even when things aren't necessarily going the way that we would like them to go. So this week, in terms of the challenge, my challenge to you is to extend kindness. Kindness to your neighbor, and also kindness to yourself. And I think that those two things are so interconnected and so entwined that we'd be remiss to focus on one and not the other. So often, many of us growing up were told to treat others better than ourselves, and on the flip side, some of us were told to look out for ourselves and not necessarily for others. But the reality is, when we do both, and our focus and intention is on treating ourselves well as treating those around us well, we realize that our attitude towards ourselves impacts how we view others. How we treat ourselves impacts how we relate to one another. If you don't love yourself, you can't really love someone else. Jesus' command to us was to love our neighbors as ourselves. So that, in other words, the love that you give to yourself is the love you have available to give to others. So if you don't love yourself, you can't love other people. It can't happen. You have to start by loving yourself. And if you don't love yourself, that will then manifest itself in the way that you treat others. So if you don't also extend grace to yourself, if you don't give yourself mercy, if you aren't compassionate to yourself, if you don't give yourself a break at times, if you don't love yourself despite your shortcomings, then you can't really extend that to others. If you're not kind to yourself, it's virtually impossible to be kind to other people. But if you do practice that kindness towards yourself, then it also helps you to be more compassionate towards others. Some of the most, for lack of a better word, miserable people to be around are people who are most miserable inside. Some of the greatest people to be around are the people who experience joy and cultivate joy and kindness within. And that doesn't mean they don't have difficult circumstances to deal with. That doesn't mean that they don't have trials and they don't experience suffering, that they don't grieve and have loss. All of us experience the ups and downs of life. All of us experience what Jesus called the trials and tribulations that we will have in this world. We experience them. That's part of the human condition. Our response to that, though, determines sort of the condition of our well-being, how we feel in the midst of it. So we can make a choice in terms of how we respond to other people, as well as to the things within ourselves, things we can control and things we can't control. Being kind to yourself doesn't mean that you don't try to be better. It does mean that you try to be better, but it means as you're doing that, you don't beat yourself up about it. It means you don't rehearse past actions in order to make yourself feel bad about it. It means that you forgive yourself. It means you forgive others. It means that you extend grace and you have understanding, that you try to take in the other person's point of view when evaluating and responding to their actions. And it means sometimes making a sacrifice for another person, something that you can do in order to make someone else's life better. That's part of kindness as well. Kindness is one of those things that you know it when you see it, and you certainly know it when you experience it. So let's amplify kindness this week and extend it and magnify it in the world so that we can all be beacons of light and hope and letting the sun shine in us as well as through us. So I pray as you go about this week that you will have a great one, that you will be blessed and a blessing to others. And remember, as I say always, love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself. And especially until I see you next week for next week's video and focus on this challenge, remember to let the sun shine in. God bless you.